businessmen and investors who wants to do more, who wants to improve daily and add value to themselves. Because as you wake up every day, uh, there's no place right in the African culture, most of us are expose ourselves to that all kind of opportunity. But you leave Nigeria to countries like Israel, countries like Dubai, like China. You see, a rich man is where the Dangote, Adenuga, Tony Lumelu, they have communities whereby they transfer their beliefs, their ethics, their philosophies, and the reason why and connections equally to younger people who wants to venture into those industries, who want to do it. So that process is called mentorship, the process of guiding, teaching, training, giving you some guidance so that you don't make the mistakes they make and can help you shortcut your journey. But we have to create one. So there's no need to come and say, nobody's supporting me. No, you create one. So that's why we are doing what we are doing, so that we can actually make sure that the journey of being an entrepreneur will become easier and faster for many people to achieve their results. So for that reason, so you have to solve a problem of whether it is right for me to be a wealthy man as an entrepreneur, as a Christian believer. So we have to solve and answer some questions today. So for that reason, we have to have this class called Conviction, Proceed, Commitment. That we're going to discuss today. Conviction, of course, precede commitment. Okay. So if you actually want to have a committed person, then they must answer some questions. Okay. Perfect. So today is 8th of January. Okay. Part 1. 8th of 1, 2026. Okay, so we have here conviction shapes beliefs, commitment shapes behavior. Okay, okay, so we have about 5 outlines to ensure that we have drive this thing down. The first one is called context for the concept, that kind of introduction. Okay, number 2 is called conviction proceed commitment precedes. Okay, number 3, doubt about God will close, about God's will close. Okay, doubt is supposed to be you here. Doubt about God's will God's will. Okay, um, close heaven. Okay, so over somebody. So if you doubt, if you are not sure about the will of God for your life, that means if you are still doubting God, how would He help you? God can versus God will. Okay, God's can versus God will. Okay, we have to discuss that. Number 5, the last one, not the least, settling the will of God for you. Okay, so we have to settle the will of God for you, for your life. So we have to settle for you. So you have to make sure, okay, that we have to define God's will for you so that your mind can be relaxed. Settle it. So I need you to write that down because it's going to affect your economic capacity, your authority, the ability to make decisions, and your leadership, your legacy. Mr. George, please help me with this one. Thank you, sir. So, and there are so many questions that we ask as an entrepreneur, as a Christian believer. So, should I aspire to be rich and wealthy? We have to answer those questions because is it possible for me to be rich and righteous at the same time? Is it possible for me to be prosperous and pious? That's devoted and deeply righteous at the same time. Abundance, um, cap, cap, uh, is abundance compatible with holiness and all of that. So why do God's will matter? We discuss all those ones. So because you will never be committed to God's way unless you are first convicted of God's will. So I need to write this down because why you are begging people or why you are encouraging or inspiring people to become improved or better learning is that most of them are not even convinced that this is the will of God for their life. Because if they are convinced that's the will of God for their life, Mr. George, sir, no vex, it's not catching up. Thank you, sir. So if you are convinced that it's God's will, you will not have to bother yourself. And when you are convinced there's a will and you are partly part of the way will manifest. So when there's a will, there's always a way. It's okay, perfect, thank you. So if you are ready for this and you are excited about today's class, shall I? You have not finished writing it, shall wait for me. Uh-uh. Okay, just copy from your neighbor. Copy is allowed in this class. As I already told you that just copy the right cat and don't copy somebody's name. Okay, we can't just wait the whole day. So we just have to start something somewhere so you can catch up with us. So the first one is context for the concept. So the first outline for today, and let's write this down now, that this training is to resolve a critical internal conflict. This particular training is to resolve a critical internal conflict many entrepreneurs experience. This particular training is to resolve a critical internal conflict. That is this doubt, this internal doubt many entrepreneurs experience, especially Christian entrepreneurs. This particular training is to resolve a critical internal conflict many entrepreneurs experience. And those experiences is abundance, prosperity, and economic authority, truly the will of God. That is experience. So this training, I want to write that this training is to resolve a critical internal conflict many entrepreneurs experience. Full stop. This conflict is abundance, prosperity, and economic authority, truly the will of God. Then I should write it somewhere. I know I'm not going here today. So I know I'm not going here today. So I can actually clean it. So the conflict is abundance, comma, prosperity, prosperity, okay, and economic authority. Economic authority. The will of God, truly, okay, the will of God. So this the internal conflict is actually abundance, prosperity, and economic authority, really the will of God for me. Is it? So we have to give you some training to resolve that conflict, because we've noticed that they've set up their big plans, their big goals, they're already kicking the energies up, but deep down they're secretly doubting, am I doing the right thing? So this conflict doesn't allow them to find a way, and they're not committed to the process, because what happens in the internal, because those your convictions, sets of beliefs, and it will affect your commitment, which is after your behavior. So the way you behave, the showing up committed, is because of the belief system you have. So I would like you to also write this down so you understand one particular thing. I want to establish something before we start going to other outlines. So the first thing I want to establish is that, write on your note, we are not mainly talking about money. We are talking about three things right now. So it's not about money. This thing is not about money. I'm not talking about we talk about money all the time, sir. But this one is not about money. It's about three things: economic capacity and leadership. Number two, economic authority, and number three, economic leadership. So it's not about money. The training is not about money right now. We want to resolve doubt, self-doubt, limiting beliefs. So I want to resolve doubt. So the training is not about money. It's not about money. It's about, number one, economic capacity. The economic capacity. Okay. Economic capacity and leadership. That's the first thing I want to establish. That this time I'm telling you now. Number two, economic authority. Okay. Economic authority. Has ability to make decisions. Ability to make decisions. A lot of us don't know how to make decisions. And why? Because they're confused. And indecision is a decision. So you didn't make decision, you made one. So economic legacy. Economic legacy. Because a good man leaveth inheritance to his children. So if you don't believe that it's the will of God for you to leave something, then they don't need to build something, because if you don't believe it. So it's gonna, whatever you don't believe affects your behavior. Because beliefs controls behavior. So it's not about money. It's about economic capacity and leadership, and it's about economic authority, your the ability to make decisions, and economic literacy. So you can be intentional and deliberate. So progress don't just happen. The Bible said that he that wants to build the house must sit down to count the cost. So you already believe they can build the house. So believing is intention, but sitting down is discipline. So why was not be discipline? That's behavior, because he already believed that he wants to build the house. That's why he's sitting down to count the cost. So if you don't believe, you cannot sit down. If you don't believe that prosperity, wealth, abundance is the will of God for you, so you will not even follow the process. You are just read this book. If you believe it, you don't need to beg. I mean, read book. Make him pay himself 10 pay. Make him do investment. If the person believes that money should work for him, that he's tired of working for money, you don't need to motivate. You don't need to inspire, because he has believed. So what happened? Behavior will start happening. 8 o'clock, say, that destroyed my life. 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, he was millionaire. Which kind of millionaire? Say, I don't work at 2 months, nothing show. Because he doesn't believe that he will be a millionaire. He believes he will not. Me that believe that all of us went to school, that one day you become a graduate. So you follow the process, no matter how difficult it is. Most of the time, we drink Gary go lecture, some no food. But we know they stop, because we know say we will graduate for this school. All of us wey born pikin, wey marry, you believe say this marriage will work. We believe say this 9 months will come, this pikin will come. Now make you dey follow the process, go antenatal, carry wife, support them, because we know say this pikin go born, nothing will show. But everything will dey okay. Okay. So let me start by saying something like this. Right on your note like this. We want to actually answer some common questions many entrepreneurs wrestle with. So I don't just want to talking like that. I want you to write in these things down. So I want you to carry your notes. So your notes will make sense for you. It's a common question. Write on your note like this. Common questions. Common questions entrepreneurs wrestle with. Especially the believers entrepreneurs wrestle with. One reason the entrepreneurs wrestle with. Number one, should a believer aspire to be rich? Should a believer entrepreneur, let me put it like that for you so it can make so much sense. So a believer entrepreneur aspire to be rich and wealthy. Is he outside the will of God? Don't worry, we'll help you solve the problem now. So that's like a question mark here. Okay. Um uh is it possible to be rich and righteous? Second question, people know they ask, we have to answer. Is it possible to be rich and righteous? Question mark. Number three, is it possible to be prosperous and pious? Number three, is it possible to be prosperous and pious? Prosperous and pious. Pious. Pious simply means deeply, devotedly and deeply righteous. So devotedly and deeply righteous. So is it possible to be prosperous and pious? This pious means devotedly and deeply righteous. So is it possible? The last question I would like us to resolve is abundance compatible with holiness? So is abundance compatible with holiness? Okay, so we need to question mark here. So we need to solve this thing as much as we can, so that you stop fighting, because most of these are secretly doubting that wealth is, I don't want to live. I don't, the way they told us when we were growing up about this issue of wealth abundance is like you can be you can be wealthy and still serve God successfully. That I have an uncle that really made it worse for me. When somebody drives a good car, a new ones, and passing our village that time, he'll be shouting blood money, money occult, So he gave us a mindset. And I told a story about this wealthy man then, was small, calling Yanite. The guy was a house member in Cross River State. He had so much money, and it's just a neighboring village. So he only passed through my village, and he coming with convoy with that convertible car. That time was small. And so we will come and be shouting, "Everyone will radio," and the man will say, roll for, go you will get up." You know, so we always think that for you to become wealthy, you have to get involved in so many shady things, but it's not true. So we have to answer so many of those questions. So common question entrepreneur wrestle with: should a believer entrepreneur aspire to be rich and wealthy? Is it possible to be rich and righteous? Is it possible to be prosperous and pious? That pious means devotedly and deeply righteous. Is abundance coupled with righteousness? So we have to resolve some of these things because um, why we need to resolve it. Let me tell you why we need to resolve it. So, and then we start the solution. At the end of the day, you walk out of the class a better person. So, at the center of this question is one issue. So, I would also like us to write this at the center of this, of at the center of these questions, at the center of this question, of course, is one issue. It's one issue, okay, and that issue is that the will of God. So the issue is the will of God. So all these questions in that as the will of God, the will of God. So is it the will of God for me to write also under the will of God? First of all, why does God's will matter? The question we need to ask: why does God's will matters? Why does it matter? Why does God's will matter? So the answer to this, I would like us to write it. I would not need to write it, but you have to write it on your note. Because you will never be committed to God's way until you are first convicted of God's will. So why does God will matter is because you will never be committed, never be committed to God's way, to God's way. If you never, unless you first convicted of God's will, unless you first convicted to God's will. So you now be convicted to God's will. So you never be committed. The challenge now is that your commitment level will be committed to God's way if you're never convicted of God's will. So no matter how we tell you, show commitment, show commitment, show commitment, show commitment, shop, be dedicated, be be intentional, be deliberate, right plan. Deep down, why am I writing a plan to be a millionaire? I want to go to heaven. I want to heaven at last. My brother. And we are paying you. So don't give excuses. Do more, do more, do more. Don't quit on the journey. A little bit more. Put effort. Deep down, even this month, even this world, I don't even think it will please God. No. So you cannot be committed to God's way if you are not convicted about God's will. So even if we don't make you understand, say it's actually the will of God. Not just by talking, we show you the for example, we look at it together and we agree that it's God's will. Don't forget about the way. When the will is sure, forget the way will appear. That's the thing. So you don't tell somebody, okay, someone that really know that I'm going to buy this land, I'm going to build this company. You don't need to beg him. Once the guy is uh, uh, convinced, forget about the rest. So another thing is this: why does God's will matters? Why does it matter? I tell you, the first one is that because you will never be committed to God's way unless you first convicted to God's will. Okay, until you are convicted to God's will. So until you are first committed to God's will. Number two reason is because writing on your note, this will be number one. Number two reason why God's will matter is because unresolved doubt about God's will closes the heavens over your life. Write it down. Because unresolved doubt about God's will, unresolved doubt about God's will closes the heavens over your life. Unresolved doubt about God's will, because unresolved doubt about God's will closes the heavens over your life. Unresolved doubt about God's will close the heaven over your life. So this training is to resolve those doubts. So at the end of the day, you will no longer have doubt about God's plan, purpose, way, and will. No more. So if after the training you still have doubt, maybe your own, we need to go and check your village people. Maybe that finally carry your head and do coconuts in the witchcraft coven. Maybe your brain, we don't carry our common. So And this training is to resolve that doubt. That also, I would like us to write this down, very important note. We will never follow through God's plan if we are not totally convicted of His purpose. Write it down. We will never follow through God's plan. Never. We will never follow through God's plan if we are not totally convicted of His purpose. If you don't believe that is the purpose of God for your life, you forget the plan, you will never follow it. No matter how they paint the plan, paint a better picture, you never follow it. And the reason why you not follow it is because you are not convinced. So we will never follow through God's plan if we are not totally convicted of His purpose. Underline the word plan, underline the word purpose. We will never follow through God's plan, if we are not totally convicted of His purpose. No matter I tell you, oh, this is a this is a plan for you to succeed, this is a plan for the year, this is a plan for all that I'm talking. If you are not convinced that this is the purpose of God for my life, deep down you are doubting. In fact, deep down you are telling yourself, am I sure I'm doing the right thing? And that thing will not help you to make decision as a person. It affects economic authority, economic leadership, economic, of course, legacy, and economic capacity to function at your full capacity. That's what I would like you to write down is that we will never go. We will never going to take God's way if you are not absolutely convinced about His will. So you never you are never going to take God's way if you are not absolutely convinced about His will. So God's way is not going to work if you don't understand, you don't believe that it's God's will. That is the God's will for others. So you're never going to take God's way if you are not absolutely convinced about His will. So you will never going to take God's way if you are not absolutely convinced about His will. So no need to follow God's way to become wealthy. When you are not convinced that is the will of God for your life, you will never. So we will never going to take God's way, if we are not absolutely convinced of His will. So there's no need to teach you and train you and guide you and give you some strategy to achieve success in life, create wealth and abundance. If you're not sure that's the will of God for your life, forget about the way. You know what work. And if God's will becomes clear, then the way will appear. That's the truth about life. If God's will becomes clear, then His ways will appear. His ways will appear. So, and why this is important is because many of us are choose to the path of we don't want to become employees. We don't want to look for a job. We want to create one. You're fighting against the normal current, like an ocean. You're fighting against current opinion and the ideology that demonized wealth creation, material success, and economic capacity. So the reason we have to resolve this issue is that God's will won't appear until or God's ways will not appear until His will is clear. You'll never follow through God's plan until you are convicted of His purpose. If you are not if you are still conflicted when it comes to God's purpose, plan, desire, and intent for your life, it's hardly to follow through the plan and the way. So you are likely to procrastinate, hesitate, and even resign or quit simply because you are doubting. And because you are doubting, you can never follow through the process. So I think you follow the process because in the process, you will develop skills and competence that will help you sustain outcomes and results. You're telling us, no, there's no need to follow the process. You need to look for shortcut. Then you look for other alternatives to achieve achieve wealth, success, and abundance. And most of the time, the things you traded your time for, your energy for, the things you compromise for, at the end of the day, you now achieve the money. And you now understand how emptiness money is. That money doesn't fulfill what it promises. In fact, money is a bad master and a loyal servant. So, but if you actually follow the process and you will develop skill and competence, not just to solve problems, not just to add value, not just to contribute, not just to make the money, but the transformation you experience will become valuable to you, because who you become in the process of making money is more valuable than the money itself. Who you become in the process of making impact, in the process of living in this world, is more important than the money you make. Money is the lowest thing you enjoy for being an entrepreneur. The most important thing you enjoy being an entrepreneur is the transformation, who you become. Becoming somebody of valuable, somebody of an asset, who can add value, who can actually have a process of success that can hand over to the generation, having capacity, leadership, of course, authority, and also legacy you can create. So let's begin to talk about the things, begin to put pillars on this training about convincing about your beliefs that affect your behavior. But people don't just behave, something controls that behavior. That is called beliefs. They're not beliefs. And beliefs don't just come. Beliefs comes from few things. Number one, the way you erase the environment, what people keep saying around you so much, because we keep saying at some point you start believing it. Number two, your self talk. You keep telling yourself, I'm a champion, I'm a millionaire. Very soon you become one. But you keep telling yourself, I'm stupid idiot, I'm good for nothing. Very soon you become one. So your self talk matters a lot. What do you say about yourself matters. Never you say anything negative about yourself. You don't want to become true, because our body responds to the words of our mouth, and our mind responds to the pictures about ourselves we have in our mind. Very, very important. And another thing is also from your religious background, family, friends, educational background. What are they telling you about you that you finally held on to, that is not empowering you, it's not taking you to where you want to go, and you have held to these beliefs? We are not supposed to acquire more wealth and more abundance, and that limitations happiness in the mind makes you never to grow a certain limit. You put a glass ceiling over your life. So, but now you have to start removing the answer, because there's no limit to what you can grow. So wealth never exceeds personal development. So as you keep improving, you want to see the manifestation of the improvement in your physical life, because that then if the evidence of knowledge is an improved life. Tell me, the evidence of knowledge is an improved life. So why will I acquire knowledge? Your life is not getting better. So we don't understand. You are still having with emotions. You're having issue with honest, being truthful. You have issues, relationship, business, issues. Even know that means you're not. You didn't understand the knowledge you receive, because it's not enough to just receive knowledge, information. There's a need to understand it, and there's a need to also apply it, and that's very important. Okay, that makes you a wise person. Let's go to outline number 2, which is where we are going to spend more time today to discuss. And it's very, very important we spend more time to discuss about conviction precede commitment. So there's no way I can tell you to be committed into a process of becoming wealthy when you are not first convinced about it. I'm just going to waste time here. They don't need, because that you are doubting it. So it's like pouring water on a date plant. The plant don't die, you don't die. Go to pour water for the plant, you're not going to walk again. So it's like crying over what is not is no. So no need. If the person did not get convinced that becoming rich and wealthy is the will of God for his life, so why do you spend time hoping that one day it will change? That never happened. So, okay, write it down. Very important on your note. People's commitment to God's way. People's commitment to God's way are first convinced of God's will. So people's commitment to God's way are first convinced of God's will. So before you see people are committed to doing things right, they already are convinced that is the will of God for their life. If they're not convinced, forget about it. People's commitment to God's way, are first convinced of God's will. So, like I tell you, good is good, bad is bad. Whether everybody is doing it or not, bad is bad. If everybody is doing it, doesn't mean that it's good. Whether somebody is doing it or not, good is good. So whether we are doing it or not, good is good, bad is bad. It's not like you are trying. Everybody is doing it, so it's correct. Everybody is doing it for a job. You should also do it. No, that's not the will. So you will never be committed to God's way. You are not convinced about God's will. So, okay, let's write down number 1 under this one now. Faith does not function where the will of God is unclear. Faith does not function. Faith does not function. Okay? Where the will of God is unclear. Where the will of God is unclear. So when you are not clear about this is the will of God, no need. So when your expectations are not, when your expectations are bad, you are not convinced that is the will of God. There's no need to faith. Once you don't have faith, it's doubt. Because they're all beliefs. Okay, I keep telling you something like this. If you draw something like this, is called fact. They're not fact. This is fact. Fact means that what will happening is it's actually is what is happening is true, because not all truth are true. Not all true are truth, but all truth are true. I keep saying that not all true are what? Truth. But all truth are what? True. True. So it is true nobody can walk on water, but it's truth. Christ walked on water. Agree with me now? Yes. It is true lion will eat Daniel, but it's truth lion did not eat Daniel. Yes or yes? It is true that fire will burn Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but it's truth it did not burn them now. Yes or yes? So not all the things that are true, that are truth, but all truth are true. So this is true. It's happening. Things are hard economy. And every fact and every truth has two things. Everything you consider is true. That life is hard, life is hard. There are two things. There are positive and negative. So if this is your big eyeballs, okay, let me draw your face first. Let me draw your face so you can see your face. With two big eyeballs, your nose, your mouth. Don't mind my picture, eh? So you're beginning to look at this fact. You are focusing on it. You're not focus. If your focus is on the positive of that fact, once you focus on something, it creates a belief. Turn on belief. So you're focusing on positive. You're going to create a belief called faith. Turn on faith. Good. So faith and positive belief. You're focusing on negative. You're going to create a belief called doubt. Turn on doubt. So doubt is opposite of faith. They're all belief. So belief is something you don't see. Believe you don't need knowledge to believe. Okay, do you believe you'll be a millionaire? Yes. A good father? Yes. You go there? Yes. Do you say anything? Yes. You didn't say it, just accepting as true. So now belief means accepting as true.
Believe means accepting as true.
So once you accept it as true, it's belief. If you accept anything as true, it's belief. You believed it now. You accept it. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you believe you become successful in life? Just accept now. You don't need to. You don't need knowledge to accept. Do you become a wealthy man?
Yes.
Some people believe they will be poor. And how they believe, see what they say. They say, we poor masses. That's what they say to themselves. We are poor people. You know, can't you see like this happen with us? Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So why did they doubt themselves? It's because they're looking at negative things. If you change your eyes from negative to positive, all these people that I told about, Daniel did not look at negative, look at positive, that God will deliver him. Did God deliver him?
Yes.
What delivered him was that he believed in. That's called faith.
Yes.
Okay, the guy that one day Christ was praying, the disciple, don't wait. They know if you wait for the guy here now. They begin to work. And then the guy pray for you, wake up. The boys don't move for water. The guy just walk about tap. Now everybody shout, see goes. Peter said, he said, na me, brother Jesus, na me dey here. Peter said, Master, if now you be the one, bid me to come. He said, come now. Now Peter begin to look at Christ, begin to walk about water. They begin lose eye from positive, begin to look at the waves. The guy begin to sing. What thing they can sing? Now doubt. You don't look at that, you get doubt. So doubts don't just happen. Doubt because you are looking at what you are doing succeed, this, what you are doing make the money, what you are being to this thing that is happening called belief. It's what's happening in your mind. Remember the difference between belief and fear. Turn on fear.
Fear.
Anxiety. No, fear and anxieties. Because see, once you fear, this thing called doubt, what they call anxiety or fear, is not from fear. Fear is that you are seeing a present danger. Turn on danger. It's going from doubt. Now, for example, now if you see snake now, hey, snake say fear don't come because you are seeing something. Fire. Now they see something, but doubt they say you know they see anything at all. Not only your brain, you need to calculate the problem where they. But that's so you cannot be afraid when you have not seen anything. You say na fear, no be fear, na doubt. Say no doubt. Faith too. You don't need faith. The way you know they see, both of them are belief. This is positive, negative. You don't need see faith, you don't need see that. Faith, you just accept. So if you accept anything negative, that means you are doubting. And it doesn't matter. He said you're not seeing the fact. The fact is always there, but the fact is not the truth. So now what you decide to do? So faith does not function where the will of God is unclear. So you can never tell somebody, have faith, believe. And the thing is this. How you know, say you get faith. How you know, say you believe, say you will succeed. It will help you to start preparing for that success because preparation is the highest demonstration of faith. What did I say? If I tell you I'll win 100 meters race, I'm feeling positive. That is, I believe now, positive faith. I'll start to prepare today now for the 100 meters journey. Not that day of the race that will enter the ring and the track and say I'm winning. With no preparation. Will I win that kind of race? I know we win. And I know say I will win this football match. I will prepare before I know I will pass the exams. So when person believes say he go become millionaire, now you go start to read the books, commitment go show. Lack of commitment means say the person no get faith. He no believe say he go succeed. He believes say he believes he go fail, and make him get out. So because the behavior of a person determines what he believes. Beliefs controls behavior. What did I say?
Beliefs control behavior.
So that is it. So whenever somebody behave, is that mean by the things you believe. So is that mean, okay, I'm serious. I just look at your actions. this one not serious anything. So that, but I mean, deep down, I know say you don't believe this thing. So you just a doubt. I mean, you just follow by the youth, the energy, the positive energy, the inspiration, so that's how you have to resolve the issue of doubt. You know, doubt. If I still with me, shall I? Okay. Let's go to number two. Let's see. Let's begin to discuss so many things so that the idea of doubt. Two, lack of conviction produces hesitation, inconsistency, and spiritual paralysis. Don't worry, I go write down for you. Lack of conviction produces, okay, hesitation, comma, inconsistency, comma, and spiritual paralysis. So you're telling somebody, wake up now. Then I'm still thinking, I'm still praying, oh, I'm still analyzing. Too much analysis leads to paralysis. Analyze. Before you know, it's paralyzed. I've seen it. Thank you, sir. Bro, yeah, I'm gone. Yeah, I said this. Bro. This is what no, you're not convinced. So I know the worst thing you do. The worst thing you do is try to convince a man against his will. You are wasting your time. The man is of the same opinion still. Never. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. There's no need, no waste your time. Give him knowledge. If the guy accepts knowledge, maybe the knowledge will actually give him light. Knowledge is like give him opportunities to shine. So lack of conviction produces hesitation, inconsistency, and spiritual paralysis. The last one I will just have to do here before I have a lot of notes. Conviction is a why, commitment is a proof. Internal conviction shape belief, convincement shape behavior. I have a lot of things to share, but let me just give you this one before we rather move on. That's like only picking where they carry hand up, they carry up. You cannot carry a ladder with two hands in your pocket, you know, go work. So you're telling someone, become a millionaire, make plan for the year. He said, forget about it. He will not make the plan because he doesn't believe he will succeed, and he doesn't know that he that failed to plan to fail. And okay, make the plan. You have a very big goal. Set a goal because if you have no goal, you are going nowhere. You cannot achieve a goal you never achieve. You can never set. You can never achieve a goal you never set. If you have no goal, you are going nowhere. You sit down with you, understand everything, and you don't say the goal. You say, I have a dream. Say dreams are not our wishes and the things. So goals are dreams with deadline. You talk and finish, write and finish. You sit down with them. You go put 28 million, reaching house. The wife will tell and say, useless man. Since I know you don't 28 million, the guy will sit down, he will doubt himself. And go and say, upline mentor, please excuse me. Am I sure that this thing I will succeed? And you're asking, are you not the one that wrote Mercedes Benz G-Wagon yesterday? He said, I don't know what I will succeed though. The money is too much. You can begin to explain yourself. So number 3 here, let's write it down. If you are unsure whether God wants something for you, you never pursue it fully. If you are unsure, if you are unsure, okay? If you're unsure whether God wants something for you, whether God wants something for you, comma, you will never pursue it fully. You will never pursue it fully. So the fact is that if you don't give it to all, you can never get the best. So you have to give it to all. But why people are not giving it all, they're holding back? It's because they don't understand the book of Hebrews 11, verse 6. Hebrews 11, verse 6. The place says something. It says, without faith, it is impossible to please him. For whoever comes to God must believe that he is the rewarder and of those who diligently seek him. So without faith, you can't please God. It is impossible. It is impossible. So God wants to look at positive side of every problem. Without faith, it is impossible. So you are not looking at positive things. It's supposed to please God. So in your life, live negative. Ignore them. Ignore them. I'm telling you the truth. Because if you need to look at negative, in fact, the best way to be paralyzed in this country is to analyze Nigerian problem. In fact, the more you analyze Nigerian problem, the more you are incapacitated, useless, out of use, powerless, hopeless. Begin to analyze weak problem and Fubara. Before you finish an analysis, you can't do anything for the day. Analyze Tinubu problem in Nigeria, tax in Nigeria. Before you go finish first subsidy, you no go fit even do anything for yourself. So leave them alone. Ignore them. Focus on the things you want for your life. Create your own economy. So you are telling somebody, be serious. He say, Oga, let me find something and do. So faith requires confidence only in God existence and in his intent of reward. So before we gradually finish this class for today, I would like us to write this very well. Um, okay, let me just do this something. I just want to be sure. Okay, I have 2 minutes. 2 minutes to 9. Let me see what I can do with these 2 minutes. So by tomorrow we do something serious. So write it down. Conviction, okay, is the why. Is the why. And it's always internal. Okay? And then commitment is the is a proof. Is a proof of your why. And you see, it's always visible. It's always visible. It's external. It's external. It's external. Invisible, visible and external. So, and this uh, conviction shapes your beliefs. Okay. I know we're using it up, but write it again here. Also write it here. Conviction shapes your belief. That means you are convinced on something about the belief, and commitment shapes your behavior. So the way the man behaves is because it's what he believes. So another one. So strong commitment is sustained by deep conviction. No lasting commitment exists. No lasting commitment exists without conviction. So, okay, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Let me just know when the why is clear. When the why is clear, the how becomes possible. So just give person information. Let him go back home and sit down and resolve. Before they do resolve that I'm a wealthy man, I'm a rich man. The reason why we are doing what we are doing is because we don't convince say we are wealthy people. Before I own my first company, second, third, fourth, all my business, I already believe say me. I don't submit CV now. I don't write CV, write CV, submit CV, submit. Look for job. 3 years, look for job, going for job interview. I think used to 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. As a graduate, I don't look for work. Work no day. I'll go job interview. I've been to Adas Petroleum in Zombe. I've been to Richmond, Port Harcourt. I've gone to On Refinery, go to Shell, go to Chevron, submit CV, make calls, mobile, everywhere. I don't work as submit CV. I won't work for a company. That one, I won't work to the I don't do it. I don't go for interview. One that is people who own this company, they don't get two heads. They're not born by two women. Why can't I create one? The day I told myself I can create one, everything changed. Everything changed. And from that moment, my life trajectory started changing, and since I'm working for me. But the man was just looking at the other side that I'm not good enough. We are from poor background. Life is hard. Life is unbearable. All those excuses. Because that's the reason the poor man is poor. Because excuses are the currency poor people used to buy failure. Tell me, excuses are the currency. Poor people used to buy failure. And they wonder why life is not working. Life can never work. Instead, to stop excuses. It's like looking down on your capacity and your ability, because you don't know that we are all self-fulfilling prophecy. We are the architect of our success in life. So that's the best we can take for today. Online community, don't get involved in a business without a mentor. You know why? Mentorship is a legal shortcut to success. He that stands on the shoulder of mentors will see far. See you tomorrow. See you at the top. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Shalom. That's what